As I explored this abandoned house, the main stairwell loomed in front of me, a skeletal reminder of a time long forgotten. Dust hung in the air, suspended like frozen memories, and the silence wrapped itself around me like a suffocating blanket. I glanced around the area, my eyes adjusting to the dim light filtering through the broken windows. I felt a strange pull to the right, towards a hallway. I pushed forward, my curiosity overwhelming my instincts to leave, as if someone was watching me from somewhere. Entering the room on the left, I looked around. The space felt strangely familiar, but empty. My eyes scanned the room. Peeling wallpaper and broken glass scattered across the floor. Despite everything, it felt like I was the one out of place. I was lost, not just in this house, but in something deeper. My thoughts were interrupted by a faint creak from above. My heart skipped a beat. Someone, or something, was upstairs. I hesitated for a moment, but I got up to investigate, heading towards a flight of stairs on the left. As I ascended, the sense of being watched from somewhere still lingered in my mind. But I couldn't stop. I kept walking up. At the top of the stairs, I paused in the middle of the doorway. My gaze drifted down the hallway, and there it was, a shadow figure, standing silently at the far end, staring back at me. We locked eyes for what felt like an eternity, neither of us moving. Then, without a word, the figure slowly stepped back, disappearing into a room on the right. I followed, feeling like I had no choice but to see where this was leading. My footsteps echoed in the empty house as I stopped at the doorway. Expecting to see it. When I looked, the shadow figure wasn't there. Instead, seated at the center of this narrow room was another figure. This one in a white attire. They sat calmly, reading from a book. The sight of this figure, so serene yet so out of place, sent a shiver down my spine. The figure in white didn't acknowledge me, but I could feel their presence more than I could see them. As I stared trying to make sense of it all, I heard a noise, this time from the left. I turned quickly, my eyes landing on the shadow figure, standing in the doorway. Its eyes, dark and unreadable, seemed to pierce through me. A soft sound to my right drew my attention back to the figure in white, who had stood up, stepping closer to me, with the book still held firmly in their hands. The tension grew unbearable. The shadow figure made another noise, this time louder, drawing my gaze to a different doorway on the left. It hadn't moved without me noticing. How and when? I spun around to face the white figure, now just feet away. They hadn't spoken, but I could feel their intention, something unspoken yet palpable in the air between us. We locked eyes and the figure in white lifted the book slowly. Holding my gaze as they didn't need words. The gesture alone spoke volumes. With a final, deliberate movement, they closed the book. And in that instant, they vanished. I stood frozen, my heart hammering in my chest, the room suddenly feeling emptier than before. My mind was spinning, trying to make sense of what I had just witnessed. But before I could catch my breath, I felt it. The cold, dark presence of the shadow figure standing close. Too close. I turned slowly, and there it was, right in front of me, reaching out with one hand. The air felt thick with anticipation, but I couldn't move. I could only watch as its hand stretched closer, as if beckoning me to follow it into the shadows. And then,